My name is Simone, and I need to tell you about the Christmas that changed everything in my family. The Christmas when my 8-year-old daughter Kennedy taught her grandmother a lesson about love that none of us saw coming. It started on Christmas Eve, December 24th, when my phone rang at 10:47 p.m. It was my mother, Beverly. "Simone, I need you to come early tomorrow, around 10 o'clock before everyone else gets here," she said. Her voice had that tone she used when she was planning something, that careful, measured way of speaking that always put me on edge. "Sure, Mama. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine. I just want to give Kennedy her gift privately this year. You know how excited the kids get when they're all together?" Something twisted in my stomach, but I pushed it down. "Okay, Mama, we'll be there at 10. After I hung up, my husband Marcus looked up from where he was wrapping the last of Kennedy's presents. "What did Beverly want?" "She wants us there early, says she wants to give Kennedy her gift privately." Marcus's jaw tightened. He'd seen what I'd been trying to ignore for years, the way my mother treated Kennedy differently from my sister Rochelle's kids and my brother Darnell's kids. The subtle slights, the forgotten birthday cards, the less expensive gifts. "Simone," he said carefully, "maybe this year we should just—" "Don't say it," I cut him off. "She's still my mother, and Kennedy deserves to know her grandmother." But that night, I lay awake remembering last Easter when Mama bought Isaiah and Destiny matching designer outfits but got Kennedy a dress from Target. Remembering Kennedy's 6th birthday, when Mama gave Amir and Jasmine iPads, but gave Kennedy a used book. Remembering every time Kennedy asked, "Mama, why doesn't Grandma love me like she loves my cousins?" And every time I'd made excuses. "She does love you, baby. She just shows it differently." The next morning, Christmas Day, we pulled up to my mother's house in Baldwin Hills at exactly 10 o'clock. The house looked beautiful, like it always did during the holidays. My father had passed 5 years ago, but Mama kept up the traditions he'd started. The lights outlining every window, the wreath on the door, the nativity scene in the front yard. Kennedy held my hand as we walked up the driveway. She was wearing the red velvet dress we'd bought her, with her natural hair styled in 2 puffs with red ribbons. She looked beautiful, and my heart ached thinking about how excited she'd been that morning. "Do you think Grandma got me something good this year?" she asked. Before we continue, please drop a comment if you've ever experienced something like this. We'd love to hear your story and subscribe to the channel to help us grow. "I'm sure she did, baby," I lied. Mama opened the door with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "There's my grandbaby," she said, but her hug was quick, perfunctory. Come in. I have coffee ready." We sat in her living room, the Christmas tree lights twinkling in the corner. Under the tree were stacks of wrapped presents, all labeled with names. I could see gifts for Isaiah, Destiny, Amir, and Jasmine. Lots of them. Big boxes, small boxes, gift bags overflowing with tissue paper. And then I saw it. One small rectangular box with Kennedy's name on it. My stomach dropped. "So, Kennedy," Mama said, settling into her chair with her coffee. "How's school going?" "Good, Grandma. I got all A's on my report card," Kennedy said brightly. "That's nice, honey." Mama took a sip of her coffee. "Your cousins did well, too. Isaiah made the honor roll again." Always. It was always about the other kids. "Mama," I said, my voice tight, "Kennedy made the honor roll, too. I told you that last week." "Oh, did you? Well, that's wonderful." She set down her cup. "Well, let's not wait any longer. Kennedy, why don't you open your gift?" Kennedy's face lit up as she reached for the small box. My heart was pounding. Please, I thought. Please let it be something good. Please let me be wrong about this. Kennedy tore off the wrapping paper carefully, the way she always did, trying to preserve it. She opened the box and pulled out a Princess and the Frog coloring book and a small box of crayons. The smile froze on her face. "What do you say, Kennedy?" I prompted automatically, my voice sounding far away. Thank you, Grandma, Kennedy whispered. You're welcome, sweetie. I know you like to color. I felt Marcus's hand find mine and squeeze. Hard. Mama, I said slowly, this is what you wanted to give her privately? Yes. I didn't want the other children to feel bad that Kennedy got something so thoughtful. You know how kids can be. I stared at my mother, at this woman who'd raised me, who'd sung in the church choir every Sunday, who'd taught me to say my prayers and treat others with kindness. And I realized I was looking at a stranger. How much did this cost? I asked. Simone? That's rude. How much, Mama? She shifted in her chair. I don't see why that matters. It was $11.99, Marcus said flatly, looking at his phone. I just looked it up on Amazon. The silence that followed was deafening. Mama, I said, my voice shaking now, what are you giving Isaiah, Destiny, Amir, and Jasmine this year? That's between me and them. What are you giving them? She lifted her chin, defiant. iPhone 17 Pro Maxes and $500 cash each. They're older. They need... Isaiah is 9. Kennedy is 8. 1 year difference. I was standing now, my whole body trembling. And Destiny is 7. She's younger than Kennedy. Those children appreciate what they're given, Mama said coldly. They respect me. They visit me. Not like what? Not like my daughter who you've treated like she doesn't exist for her entire life? Tears were streaming down my face now. She's your granddaughter, Mama. She's your blood. What did she ever do to you? Kennedy was crying silently, still holding the coloring book. That's when Marcus stood up. We're leaving. You're being dramatic, Mama started. No, Marcus said, his voice like steel. We're done being dramatic. We're done making excuses for you. We're done subjecting our daughter to your disrespect. He held out his hand to Kennedy. Come on, baby girl. Let's go home. But Kennedy didn't move. She was staring at the floor, tears dropping onto the coloring book in her lap. Kennedy, I said gently. Baby, we need to go. She looked up at me with those big brown eyes, so full of hurt. Mama, why doesn't Grandma love me? Oh, Kennedy, I do love you, Mama said, but there was no warmth in it. You're just being sensitive. Something in me snapped. Don't you dare, I said. Don't you dare tell my child she's being sensitive because she's hurt by your cruelty. My cruelty? Mama stood up now too. I've opened my home to you every holiday. You've tortured my daughter while showering her cousins with love and gifts. For years. And I've let you. I've made excuses for you. I've convinced myself that you meant well. That you were just... I couldn't finish. I couldn't breathe. If you don't like how I treat my grandchildren, then maybe you shouldn't come around, Mama said, her voice icy. Fine, I said. We won't. We left. We got in the car, and Kennedy cried the whole way home. She cried through Christmas lunch. She cried herself to sleep that night, still clutching that $12 coloring book. And I cried too. For my daughter. For the grandmother she deserved, but would never have. For the years I'd wasted trying to make Beverly into someone she wasn't. But then something happened the next morning. I woke up to find Kennedy at the kitchen table, drawing. She'd been up since 6 a.m., Marcus told me. She'd been working on something all morning, very focused, very quiet. Kennedy? I approached carefully. Baby, what are you doing? She looked up at me with eyes that were no longer sad but determined. I'm making something for Grandma. My heart broke all over again. Honey, you don't have to. Yes, I do, she said firmly. I figured it out, Mama. I know why Grandma doesn't love me. Kennedy. It's because I don't give her anything. Isaiah and them, they always bring Grandma stuff, but we never do, so I'm going to give her something. For New Year's when we see the family again. I should have stopped her. I should have told her that wasn't how love worked, that she didn't need to earn her grandmother's affection. But something in my daughter's voice stopped me. There was a strength there I'd never heard before. "What are you making?" I asked. "You'll see," she said. "But Mama, I need your help. I need you to print some things for me, and I need a nice box to put it in." For the next week, Kennedy worked on her project. She wouldn't let me see all of it, but I helped her print what she asked for. Photos, receipts, lists, things I'd saved over the years without really knowing why. My sister Rochelle called on December 28th, angry. "Mama's upset that you left like that on Christmas. She wants you to apologize." "No," I said simply. "Simone, she's our mother. And Kennedy is my daughter. I'm done choosing Beverly's feelings over my child's well-being." "You're being dramatic. So Kennedy got a smaller gift. Big deal. She's spoiled anyway." I hung up on her. It was the first time in my life I'd hung up on my sister. Darnell texted, "Mom says you're boycotting the New Year's dinner. That's messed up, Simone. It's family tradition." I texted back, "We'll be there. Kennedy has something she wants to give Mama." New Year's Eve arrived. The whole family gathered at Mama's house just like we did every year. Rochelle was there with her husband and kids. Darnell was there with his wife and kids. Everyone was dressed up, ready to bring in 2026 together. Kennedy wore her Sunday best and carried a beautifully wrapped box. She'd wrapped it herself with gold paper and a silver bow. She'd used her own money from her piggy bank to buy the wrapping paper. "Well, look who decided to show up," Mama said when we arrived, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Hi, Grandma," Kennedy said politely. "I brought you a gift." The room went quiet. Everyone turned to look at us. Mama's eyebrows rose. "Oh, well, that's unexpected." "I wanted to give it to you at dinner," Kennedy said, "in front of everyone. Is that okay?" Something flickered across Mama's face. Surprise, maybe suspicion. But she nodded. "Of course, sweetheart. We'll open it after we eat." Dinner was tense. Rochelle kept shooting me looks. Darnell tried to make small talk. The kids chattered about their Christmas presents. Isaiah couldn't stop talking about his new iPhone. And Destiny showed everyone the photos she'd taken with hers. Kennedy ate quietly, occasionally glancing at the gold-wrapped box she'd placed on the sideboard. Finally, after dessert, Mama stood up. "Well, it seems Kennedy has brought me a gift. Let's see what it is." Kennedy carried the box to her grandmother and placed it carefully in her hands. "I made this for you, Grandma. I worked really hard on it." Mama opened the box slowly, aware that everyone was watching. She pulled out what looked like a scrapbook or a photo album, handmade, with Kennedy's careful 8-year-old handwriting on the cover. The title read, "Why Grandma Beverly Doesn't Love Me, The Kennedy Collection." Mama's face went pale. "Kennedy, what is this?" "Open it," Kennedy said simply. "You'll see." And with shaking hands, my mother opened the book to the first page, and the entire room held its breath. The first page of Kennedy's book had a photo. It was from Easter 2 years ago. On the left side was a picture of Isaiah, Destiny, Amir, and Jasmine, all wearing brand new designer outfits. You could see the Ralph Lauren logos, the pristine white shoes, the fancy spring hats. They were standing in front of Mama's house, beaming. On the right side was Kennedy. She was wearing a simple Target dress that was slightly too big, with scuffed shoes we'd tried to polish up. She was smiling in the photo, but if you looked close, you could see the sadness in her eyes. Under the photos, in Kennedy's careful handwriting, it said, "Easter 2023. Cousins got $400 in new clothes. I got $29.99. I was happy anyway because Grandma said I looked pretty. But she took 47 pictures of my cousins and only 2 of me." Mama stared at the page. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. "Keep going, Grandma," Kennedy said softly. "There's more." The room was completely silent. Even the kids had stopped talking. Mama turned the page with trembling fingers. The second page showed birthday cards. 4 cards on the left, fancy Hallmark cards with money falling out. On the right was a single card, generic, from the dollar store. "My 6th birthday," the caption read. Isaiah got $100 in his card. Destiny got $75. Amir got $100. Jasmine got $75. I got $10. But that's okay because Grandma wrote "Love You" in mine. Except she spelled my name wrong. She wrote Kennedy instead of Kennedy. I watched my mother's face crumble. Rochelle had gone very still. "Kennedy," Mama whispered. "I didn't mean—" "Please don't talk yet, Grandma," Kennedy said with a politeness that cut like glass. "You need to see all of it first." Page 3 was a list, written in Kennedy's neat print. Times Grandma came to my school events. 0 times Grandma came to Isaiah's school events. 7 times Grandma came to Destiny's school events. 5 times Grandma came to Amir's school events. 6 times Grandma came to Jasmine's school events. 4. I invited her every time. Mama said Grandma was probably busy. Darnell cleared his throat. "Mama, is this true?" Mama didn't answer. She just kept turning pages, each one more devastating than the last. Page 4 showed receipts. Kennedy had asked me to print out screenshots of text messages, and I'd done it, not fully understanding what she was planning. There was a receipt from last Christmas. iPhone 14s for all 4 cousins, $9.99 each. A Barbie doll for Kennedy, $24.99. There was a receipt from Kennedy's 7th birthday at Chuck E. Cheese. I'd sent Mama an invitation. She'd texted back, "Can't make it, taking Isaiah to Disneyland for his birthday." Isaiah's birthday was 3 weeks after Kennedy's. "Y'all went to Disneyland?" Marcus said, his voice dangerous and quiet. "You took Isaiah to Disneyland and couldn't come to Kennedy's party at Chuck E. Cheese?" Rochelle shifted uncomfortably. "Mama wanted to do something special for Isaiah's 9th birthday." "Kennedy's 7th birthday wasn't special?" Marcus's voice was rising now. "Her 7th birthday, when she asked for just one thing, for her grandmother to show up?" Page 5 was a drawing. Kennedy had drawn a picture of a family dinner. Everyone was sitting around a table, but in the picture, little Kennedy was at a separate small table, by herself. "This is how I feel at family dinners," the caption read. "Grandma always sits with Isaiah on one side and Destiny on the other. She never asks me to sit next to her. She talks to them the whole time and forgets I'm there. Last Thanksgiving, I sat by myself for 2 hours, and she never talked to me once. Not once." I felt tears streaming down my face. I'd been there. I'd seen it. And I'd told myself I was imagining things. Mama was crying now too, but Kennedy wasn't done. Page 6 had a photo of a Christmas from 3 years ago. All the grandkids around the tree. Isaiah, Destiny, Amir, and Jasmine were sitting on the floor surrounded by mountains of presents. Kennedy was standing off to the side, holding a single small gift. "Christmas 2022, Kennedy had written. Cousins got 15 presents each. I got one, a used book that smelled funny. Isaiah got a PlayStation 5. Destiny got an iPad. Amir got a Nintendo Switch. Jasmine got an Apple Watch. I got a book with pages missing. I didn't tell Mama because I didn't want her to feel bad." "Oh my God," Rochelle whispered. She was staring at her mother with horror dawning on her face. "Mama, I didn't know it was this bad." "You knew," I said sharply. "You all knew. You just didn't care because your kids were the ones being favored." Page 7 was the most damning. It was a side-by-side comparison that Kennedy had made with my help, though I hadn't known what she was using it for. Money Grandma spent on grandchildren, 2023-2025. Isaiah, age 9, $8,450. Destiny, age 7, $7,200. Amir, age 8, $8,100. Jasmine, age 6, $6,800. Kennedy, age 8, $387. That's 22 times less than what she spent on Isaiah. But I still love her because she's my grandma. The room erupted. 22 times? Marcus was standing now. 22 times? Darnell was looking at the book over Mama's shoulder, his face pale. Mama, this can't be right. This has to be. It's right, I said. I keep receipts. I keep track. I told myself I was being paranoid, but I documented everything because part of me knew. Part of me always knew. Beverly, Marcus said, and the use of her first name made everyone go quiet. He never called her Beverly. It was always Ms. Beverly, out of respect. You gave my daughter a $12 coloring book while giving the others $1,000 phones and cash. And now we know this is part of a pattern that's been going on for years. Mama finally found her voice. It's not. I didn't realize. They're different situations. Different how? I demanded. Tell us, Mama. Tell everyone. Why is Kennedy different? The silence stretched out. Mama's mouth opened and closed, but no excuse came out. Is it because Marcus is darker-skinned? I asked, my voice breaking. Is that it? Is it because Kennedy has his skin tone and not mine? The gasp from Rochelle told me I'd hit close to the mark. Is it colorism, Mama? I pressed. Is my daughter too dark for you? Not light enough to fit your standards? Simone, don't be ridiculous, Mama started. Then what is it? I shouted. Give me one good reason. One reason why you've treated my child like she's worthless for 8 years. But Kennedy's voice cut through the chaos, clear and calm. Turn to the last page, Grandma. With shaking hands, Mama turned to the final page. It was blank except for a single sentence in the middle. This is your last chance to love me. And taped below it was a handprint. Kennedy's small handprint in red paint. I put my hand there, Kennedy explained. Because Mama says when you love someone, you leave your handprint on their heart. I'm giving you my handprint, Grandma. Because even though you don't love me, I still love you. But this is the last time. If you can't love me back, then I'm done trying. The silence that followed was broken by a sound I'd never heard before, my mother sobbing. Not delicate crying, but gut-wrenching sobs that shook her whole body. Kennedy, she gasped. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But Kennedy just stood there, calm and dignified beyond her 8 years. Do you love me, Grandma? Yes, of course I do. Then why? Kennedy asked simply. Why did you do all of this? And that's when Mama finally broke. Because you look like him, she whispered. You look like Marcus, and Marcus reminds me of my father. The room went very still. Your father? I said slowly. You mean Grandpa Robert? The one who died when I was 10? He wasn't. Mama wiped her eyes. He wasn't a good man, Simone. He was dark-skinned, and he was cruel to me because your grandmother was light-skinned, and I came out dark like him. He resented me for it. He made my childhood hell. And when you married Marcus, and Kennedy was born looking just like him, looking dark and beautiful, I couldn't separate her from those memories. So you punished an innocent child for your trauma? Marcus said, his voice like ice. I didn't mean to. I thought I could get over it. I thought... You thought wrong, Darnell said quietly. He was looking at Mama like he didn't know her. You took your pain and passed it on to a child, to your own granddaughter. Rochelle was crying now too. Mama, how could you? How could you do this? I'm sick, Mama said desperately. It's a sickness. Colorism. I know it is. I know it's wrong. I've been going to therapy. I've been trying... For how long? I demanded. 6 months. 6 months, I repeated. And in those 6 months, did you think to apologize to Kennedy? Did you think to change your behavior? Mama had no answer. Kennedy walked over to me and took my hand. "Can we go now, Mama? I'm tired." "Yes, baby," I said. "We can go." As we stood to leave, Mama reached out. "Please, Simone, please, give me a chance to make this right." I looked at this woman who'd given birth to me, raised me, taught me everything I knew, and I felt nothing but disappointment. "You had 8 years to make it right, Mama. 8 years. I'll do anything. Please. I'll go to more therapy. I'll give Kennedy money. I'll buy her an iPhone. "You think this is about money?" Marcus said, his voice full of disgust. "You think you can buy back 8 years of emotional neglect?" "I can change. I swear I can change." "Maybe you can," I said. "But you can't do it around my daughter. Not anymore." We left. But this time, we didn't go quietly. This time, the whole family knew the truth. My phone started ringing before we even got home. First Rochelle. "Simone, I had no idea it was that bad. I swear I didn't know. I thought Mama was closer to my kids because I lived closer to her. I didn't realize." "You didn't want to realize," I said. "It was easier not to look." Then Darnell. "I'm so sorry, Simone. To you and Kennedy. That book. Jesus. That broke my heart." "Imagine how Kennedy felt living it," I replied. Then, surprisingly, Mama's sister, my Aunt Lorraine. "I'm at Beverly's house. She's having a breakdown. She wants you to know she's serious about changing. She's asking for a chance." "Tell her I'll think about it," I said. "But Kennedy comes first. Always." That night, after Kennedy was asleep, I sat in her room and read through the book again. Every page was a knife to my heart, every documented moment of neglect, every receipt, every comparison. But the last page, that handprint, that message, that was hope. Marcus found me there, crying over the book. "Our daughter is remarkable," he said softly. "She is," I agreed. "She's better than all of us." "What are we going to do?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me wants to never let Mama near Kennedy again. But part of me wants to believe people can change." "Yeah." Marcus sat down beside me. "Then we set boundaries, real ones. And if she crosses them, we're done. No more chances." I nodded. It was fair. It was more than fair. But then my phone rang again. It was a number I didn't recognize. "Hello? Is this Simone Jackson?" A woman's voice, professional. "Yes? This is Dr. Patricia Williams from the Center for Family Therapy. Your mother gave me your number. She's here at my office and she's had a complete breakdown. She's asking if you'd be willing to come in for a family session. She wants to do the work, but she wants you to see her do it." I looked at Marcus. He nodded. "When?" I asked. "Tomorrow morning if you're available, 10 a.m. Tomorrow, barely 24 hours after Kennedy had handed over that book. "I'll be there," I said. "But my husband and daughter are coming too. Whatever happens, happens in front of all of us." "That's perfectly fine. I'll see you tomorrow." After I hung up, Marcus asked, "Do you think she'll actually change?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "But Kennedy gave her a handprint. The least I can do is show up to see what she does with it." What we didn't know was that the next morning's therapy session would reveal something none of us expected. Something that would explain everything and change our family forever. Because when we arrived at Dr. Williams's office, we weren't the only ones there. Grandpa Robert's brother, my great-uncle Jerome, who I hadn't seen in 15 years, was sitting in the waiting room. And the look on Mama's face when she saw him told me this was about to get much more complicated than any of us had imagined. Great-uncle Jerome stood up when he saw us. He was in his late 70s now, tall and dignified with deep brown skin and silver hair. He looked so much like the photos I'd seen of Grandpa Robert, except his eyes were kind where Grandpa Robert's had always been hard. "Simone," he said warmly. "Baby girl, You've grown into such a beautiful woman. And this must be Marcus and Kennedy." Kennedy pressed closer to me, unsure. "Uncle Jerome," I said, confused. "What are you doing here?" "Your mama called me last night, asked me to come, said it was time to face some old ghosts." He knelt down to Kennedy's level. "And you must be the young lady who made that book. Your grandma showed it to me this morning. That took courage, sweetheart. Real courage." Before Kennedy could respond, Dr. Williams opened her office door. She was a black woman in her 50s with kind eyes and an air of calm authority. "Everyone's here. Let's go ahead and get started." The office was large, with comfortable chairs arranged in a circle. Mama was already seated, her eyes red and swollen. She looked like she'd aged 10 years overnight. "Thank you all for coming," Dr. Williams began once we were settled. "Beverly called me in crisis last night after the family dinner. We've had an emergency session this morning, and she's asked for this family meeting to take place in a therapeutic setting. Jerome has agreed to provide some family context. Before we begin, I want to establish that this is a safe space. Everyone will have a chance to speak. Beverly, would you like to start?" Mama looked at Kennedy, and fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "Kennedy, baby, I need you to know something. What I did to you, all of it, it was never about you. It was never because you weren't good enough or lovable enough. You are perfect. You've always been perfect." Kennedy sat very still in her chair, holding my hand. "Then why did you hurt me?" she asked simply. Mama took a shaky breath. "Because I was hurt. A long time ago, when I was your age, by my father, your great-grandfather Robert." "I thought great-grandpa Robert was nice," Kennedy said. "You said he was a good man." "I lied," Mama admitted. "I lied because I was ashamed. Because in our community, we don't talk about these things. We don't talk about the hurt that happens inside our own families." Uncle Jerome leaned forward. "Your great-grandfather Robert was my brother Kennedy, and I loved him. But he was a sick man. He had colorism so deep in his heart that it poisoned everything he touched." "What's colorism?" Kennedy asked. I started to answer, but Dr. Williams gestured for Uncle Jerome to continue. "Colorism is when people treat other people differently based on how dark or light their skin is," Uncle Jerome explained gently. "It's a sickness that got started during slavery, when white people treated lighter-skinned black folks a little better than darker-skinned black folks. It made us turn on each other, made us think lighter was better, and that poison got passed down through generations." "Your great-grandfather Robert was dark-skinned like me," Uncle Jerome continued, "and his whole life he was told he wasn't good enough because of it. When he married your great-grandmother Clara, who was very light-skinned, almost could pass for white, he thought that would fix something in him. But it didn't." Mama was crying harder now. "When I was born, I came out dark like Daddy, and he hated me for it. He told me I was ugly. He told me I'd ruined the bloodline. He wouldn't take pictures with me. He wouldn't hold me. When my sister was born 2 years later and came out light like Mama, he treated her like a princess and treated me like I was nothing." I felt my heart breaking. I'd known Mama had a difficult childhood, but I'd never known this. "My whole life," Mama continued, "I promised myself I would never be like him. I would never treat anyone differently because of their skin color. And I thought I'd succeeded. I raised you and Rochelle and Darnell with so much love. I never favored one over the other. I thought I'd broken the curse. But then Kennedy was born," Marcus said quietly. Mama nodded. "When I first held Kennedy in the hospital, I felt joy, pure joy. She was beautiful. But then something happened. As she got older, as her features developed, she started looking more and more like Marcus. And Marcus has that same deep, beautiful brown skin that my father had. And every time I looked at her, I saw my father. I heard his voice calling me ugly. I felt that old pain like it was fresh. "So you hurt Kennedy the way your father hurt you," I said. "Yes," Mama whispered. "And I didn't even realize I was doing it. Not fully. I told myself I loved all my grandchildren equally. I made excuses for why I spent more on the others. I convinced myself it wasn't about skin color. But it was. It always was." Kennedy was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked, "Are you going to keep hurting me?" "No," Mama said firmly. "No, baby. I'm going to do the work. Real work. Dr. Williams and I have already scheduled twice-weekly therapy sessions. Uncle Jerome has agreed to help me process the trauma from my childhood, and I'm joining a support group for people dealing with internalized colorism." "That's a start," Dr. Williams said. "But Beverly, tell them about the letter." Mama reached into her purse and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "I wrote this last night after you left. I stayed up until 4 a.m. writing and rewriting it. Uncle Jerome helped me finish it this morning." She stood up and walked over to Kennedy, kneeling in front of her. "This is for you, Kennedy. It's an apology, a real one, and it's a promise." Kennedy took the letter and slowly unfolded it. Her reading was good for her age, but I could see her lips moving as she worked through the words. Mama had written in large, clear print so Kennedy could read it herself. After a few minutes, Kennedy looked up. "You promise all this?" "I promise," Mama said. "And I want you to keep that letter. If I ever break any of those promises, you show it to me. You remind me of what I said today." "What does the letter say?" Marcus asked. Kennedy read aloud, her young voice clear and strong. "Dear Kennedy, I am sorry. I am sorry for treating you differently than your cousins. I am sorry for giving you less, loving you less, and making you feel less. You are not less. You never were. I promise to go to therapy every week to fix what's broken in me. I promise to treat you exactly the same as Isaiah, Destiny, Amir, and Jasmine from now on. I promise to come to your school events, your birthday parties, and any other time you want me there. I promise to never again let the color of your skin affect how I love you. I promise that if you give me another chance, I will spend the rest of my life proving to you that you are precious, valued, and deeply loved. I understand if you need time before you trust me again. I understand if you never trust me again. I hurt you, and that's on me, not on you. But I will keep trying. Even if it takes forever, I will keep trying to be the grandmother you deserve. I love you, Kennedy Alexandria Jackson. I love your beautiful brown skin. I love your bright mind. I love your kind heart. I love everything about you. Love, Grandma Beverly. P.S. If I ever break these promises, you have permission to show this letter to the whole family and to never forgive me. The room was silent except for the sound of crying. I was crying. Marcus was crying. Uncle Jerome was wiping his eyes. Even Dr. Williams looked emotional. "That's a powerful commitment, Beverly," Dr. Williams said. "And the real test will be in your actions over time. Kennedy, how do you feel about what your grandmother said?" Kennedy looked at the letter, then at her grandmother, then at me. "Mama, what should I do?" I took a deep breath. "Baby, that's your choice. You get to decide if you want to give Grandma another chance or not. And whatever you decide, Daddy and I will support you." Kennedy thought for a long moment. Then she said, "I have questions first." "Of course," Mama said. "Anything." "Will you love me the same as my cousins?" "Yes." "Will you spend the same amount of money on me as them?" "Yes. In fact, I've already ordered you an iPhone 17 Pro Max, and I'm giving you $500 cash today to make up for Christmas." "I don't want your money," Kennedy said. And everyone looked surprised. "I don't want an iPhone either. I want you to come to my school play next month. I'm playing Harriet Tubman." Mama's face crumpled. "You have a school play?" "I invited you last month. I said quietly. You said you were busy. What day is it? Mama asked urgently. February 14th, Valentine's Day. It's at 7 p.m., Kennedy said. I'll be there, Mama said. Front row. I'll bring flowers. I'll bring a camera. Just bring yourself, Kennedy interrupted. That's all I want. Just you, paying attention to me. I can do that, Mama whispered. I will do that. Kennedy nodded slowly. Okay, then I'll give you another chance. But Grandma? Her voice got very serious. I'm only 8, but I'm not stupid. If you hurt me again, I'm done. For real done. Forever done. I understand, Mama said. And you have to apologize to Mama and Daddy too, Kennedy added, because you hurt them by hurting me. Mama turned to us. Simone, Marcus, I am so deeply sorry. You trusted me with your daughter, and I betrayed that trust. I hurt her, and in doing so, I hurt you. I have no excuse. I only have my commitment to change. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Beverly, I'm a dark-skinned black man. I've dealt with colorism my whole life, from strangers, from co-workers, sometimes even from other black people. But I never thought I'd have to protect my daughter from it within our own family. I know, Mama said. If you ever, and I mean ever, make my daughter feel less than because of her skin color again, we're done. Not just for a while, forever. Do you understand? I understand. And one more thing, Marcus added. You need to apologize to Isaiah, Destiny, Amir, and Jasmine, too. Everyone looked confused. Why? Rochelle would ask later when I told her about this, but Marcus explained it perfectly in that moment. Because you didn't do them any favors either, Marcus said. You taught them that it's okay to accept preferential treatment at someone else's expense. You taught them that love is about money and gifts. You taught them that they're better than Kennedy. That's going to mess them up too, just in different ways. Dr. Williams nodded approvingly. Marcus is absolutely right. Colorism hurts everyone, even those who benefit from it. Beverly, have you thought about how to address this with your other grandchildren? I hadn't, Mama admitted. Then that's homework, Dr. Williams said. You need to have age-appropriate conversations with each of them about what happened and why. They need to understand that what they witnessed wasn't normal or okay. Uncle Jerome spoke up. And I'll help with that if you want, Beverly. Those kids should know their family history. They should know about Robert and Clara. They should understand why this matters. I'd appreciate that, Mama said. Dr. Williams looked around the circle. I think we've made significant progress today. But I want to be clear. This is just the beginning. Beverly, you have years of patterns to unlearn. It won't be easy, and there will be setbacks. The question is whether you're committed to the work. I am, Mama said. I swear I am. Then here's what I'm recommending, Dr. Williams said. Continued individual therapy for Beverly, twice a week minimum. Family therapy once a month for the next 6 months, including Simone, Marcus, and Kennedy. I'm also recommending that Beverly attend a workshop on colorism and anti-racism within the Black community. And I want her to read several books I'm going to assign about breaking generational trauma. I'll do all of it, Mama said. And one more thing, I added. You're going to make a public apology at the next family gathering, not just to Kennedy, but about what you've done and why. No more secrets. No more pretending this didn't happen. Mama swallowed hard. The whole family? The whole family, I confirmed. Because they all need to understand what colorism looks like. They need to watch out for it in themselves. We're breaking this cycle, Mama. Completely. Okay, Mama agreed. I'll do it. The session ended with a plan in place. Mama would start her intensive therapy immediately. We would have supervised visits for the next month. short, structured interactions where Mama could begin rebuilding trust with Kennedy. The iPhone and money would be donated to a children's charity in Kennedy's name, since Kennedy had been so clear she didn't want them. And we would reconvene in a month to assess progress. As we were leaving, Uncle Jerome pulled me aside. "Your daughter is something special, Simone. That book she made? That took wisdom beyond her years." "She got tired of being hurt," I said simply. "She did more than that," Uncle Jerome said. "She held up a mirror, made everyone look at themselves. That's what prophets do, baby girl. They tell uncomfortable truths." That night, Kennedy and I sat on her bed together. She was still holding the letter from Mama. "Mama, do you think Grandma will really change?" she asked. "I don't know, baby," I said honestly. "But I know this. Whether she changes or not, you're going to be okay. Because you know your worth now. You know you deserve to be loved and valued, and no one can take that from you." "I felt powerful today," Kennedy said quietly. "When I gave her that book, I felt powerful. Like I wasn't just a kid who had to accept whatever grown-ups did. Like I had a voice." "You do have a voice," I told her, "and you used it beautifully. I'm so proud of you." "Are you mad that I gave Grandma another chance?" she asked. "Daddy seems mad." "Daddy's not mad at you," I explained. "He's mad at the situation. He's protective of you, but he'll support whatever you decide." "Good," Kennedy said, "because I think people can change. At least, I want to believe they can." 2 weeks later, Mama showed up to Kennedy's basketball practice. She sat in the bleachers for the full hour, cheering every time Kennedy touched the ball. She didn't look at her phone once. She didn't leave early. She just watched and smiled and clapped. After practice, she asked Kennedy if she wanted to get ice cream. Just the two of them. I almost said no. But Kennedy looked up at me with hopeful eyes, and I nodded. They were gone for an hour. When they came back, Kennedy was smiling, really smiling, and Mama looked lighter somehow. "We talked about Great-Grandpa Robert," Kennedy told me later. "Grandma told me what he did to her when she was little. It was really sad, Mama. He was so mean." "I know, baby. But she said she's going to make sure she doesn't do to me what he did to her. She said I'm helping her heal." And slowly, over the next few months, Mama did change. She came to Kennedy's school play and cried through the whole thing, so proud of her granddaughter playing Harriet Tubman. She started attending all the grandkids' events, not just some of them. She had those hard conversations with Isaiah, Destiny, Amir, and Jasmine about colorism with Uncle Jerome's help. At Easter, all 5 grandchildren got equal gifts, not expensive gifts. Mama had learned that wasn't what mattered, but thoughtful, personalized gifts that showed she'd paid attention to each child's interests. And at the next big family dinner, Mama stood up and gave the speech I'd demanded. She told the whole family about her father's abuse, about the colorism she'd internalized, about how she'd hurt Kennedy. She cried through most of it. Some family members were supportive. Others were angry. How dare she hurt a child? A few walked out. But she did it. She faced her shame publicly and owned what she'd done. That summer, 6 months after Kennedy had given her that book, Mama threw Kennedy a big 9th birthday party. It was at a trampoline park, and she invited Kennedy's whole class. She wore a birthday hat. She jumped on trampolines with the kids even though she was 68 years old. She laughed until she cried. And when it was time for cake, she stood up and made a toast. 9 years ago, God blessed this family with Kennedy Alexandria Jackson. And for 8 of those years I was too broken to see the gift I'd been given. But Kennedy, in her wisdom and strength, refused to let me stay broken. She held up a mirror and made me look at myself. And what I saw was ugly. But instead of giving up on me, she gave me her handprint. She gave me a chance to be better. So today, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for teaching your old grandma that it's never too late to change. I love you, Kennedy, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never doubt that again." Everyone clapped. Kennedy ran to hug her grandmother. And I watched through tears as Mama held my daughter tight, rocking her gently, whispering apologies and promises into her hair. Was everything perfect? No. Mama still had moments where her old programming kicked in, where she had to consciously check herself. There were still times when Kennedy pulled back, when the hurt was too fresh. Healing wasn't linear, but Mama kept going to therapy. She kept doing the work. She joined a support group called Breaking Chains, for Black folks working to unlearn colorism and other internalized oppressions. She started volunteering with an organization that taught children about Black history and Black excellence, working to undo the damage that colorism causes in our community. And Kennedy? Kennedy grew up knowing that she had the power to demand better, that she deserved love and respect, that her voice mattered. Years later, when Kennedy was in high school, she used that experience as the basis for a project on colorism in the Black community. She showed that original book she'd made, shared her story, and won a national essay contest. The prize money, $10,000, she donated to therapy funds for families dealing with generational trauma. "I was hurt," she said in her acceptance speech. "But I used that hurt to create change, first in my family, and now hopefully in the world. Because staying silent about pain doesn't make it go away. Speaking up does. Demanding better does. And believing that people can change, that does too." I was in the audience that day, sitting next to Marcus and Mama. We were all crying. But this time, they were tears of pride. My mother leaned over and whispered, "I would have missed all of this. If Kennedy hadn't been brave enough to call me out, I would have missed watching her become this amazing young woman. I would have missed knowing her." "But you didn't miss it," I whispered back, "because she gave you her handprint. And you honored it." Looking back now, I understand that Kennedy's book was more than just a child's response to being hurt. It was a reckoning. It was a demand for justice. It was a roadmap for liberation, not just for her, but for all of us. She taught us that silence protects no one. That calling out injustice, even within our own families, is an act of love. That children deserve to be heard, believed, and protected. That healing is possible, but only if we're willing to face hard truths. That Christmas book, with its receipts and photos and that small handprint in red paint, sits in a frame in Mama's living room now. She keeps it there as a reminder of who she was, who she could have stayed, and who she chose to become instead. And every Christmas, when we gather as a family, Mama makes a point of giving each grandchild, now numbering 7, with 2 new additions, the exact same thoughtful gifts. And she makes sure Kennedy goes first, always first, because as Mama says now, "Kennedy taught me that love isn't about being comfortable, it's about being honest. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the truth, even when it hurts." My daughter gave her grandmother a handprint and a last chance, and in return, she got something more valuable than any iPhone or cash could ever be. She got genuine love. She got respect. She got a grandmother who finally saw her. And she learned that she had the power to change her world, one truth at a time. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.